Hi everyone, it's Tracy. I wanted to do a quick video response to Two Spirits prompt about my Lifepath card and how it resonates with me. And no matter how you do the math, my Lifepath card comes up to the Hierophant, number 5. And number 5, to begin with, is a bit chaotic and combative. And then you come up with the Hierophant as your Lifepath card, and that can be a little confusing because, you know, this seems like following orders and docile. And in this particular depiction, this is the Tarot of A.E. Waite. In this particular depiction, this very traditional depiction, he looks like the Pope. He's very popish. I grew up in the Episcopal Church in the southeastern United States, which didn't have this Pope. So I was not raised Catholic. And organized religion in my childhood and in my upbringing, it was basically a party. It was an excuse to socialize. I remember going to church. My parents took me to church. But most of what I remember about church was social activities that the church organized, like softball games and pancake suppers and things like that. So it seemed a very social activity to me as opposed to a spiritual or religious activity. That being said, I love the Hierophant. I think he's marvelous. This is not my favorite depiction of the Hierophant, but if you take the good qualities of what religion can be, that's kind of how I approach it. And I'm going to read a passage from another tarot book in a minute that's going to explain it better than I ever could. So while I love the Hierophant, I don't particularly love this depiction of the Hierophant, because I do understand, I studied history in college, I do understand that this Pope guy, throughout much of history, he was not a spiritual leader. He was a political leader. And that means all the same things back then that it means today. He was after wealth and power, and the fact that he used the church to get that wealth and power was not really a good thing. So this guy, with the little monks with the shaved heads, I really can't relate to this particular image of the Hierophant. Now I've got several other examples here that I can relate to a little more. And today I got Stephen Bright's Spirit Within Tarot, and I do love his Hierophant card, which he calls the Hierophant. But this is clearly a teacher. This is someone passing on knowledge to people who are interested and willing and want to learn about it. And these sun rays here speak to me of this person is giving them something that's really going to enlighten them and bring value to their life. So I really do love this depiction of the Hierophant. The Hierophant does go through a lot of different versions in different decks. You know, my channel's named Temperance Tarot. I identify highly with the Temperance card, but you'll notice if you look at different Temperance cards, there's not much variation in the interpretation of the Temperance card. There's lots of variation in the interpretation of the Hierophant. Here we have my very favorite Hierophant. This is from my Ellis deck. This is the big plastic version. And this guy looks like, you know, a guru, a mystic. And he's sitting on a pile of books that tell me that he has accumulated knowledge from his ancestors and from people who've gone before him, who've written down things that have worked over and over again. And he's learned from those things. He also has keys up here that indicate to me he's got some knowledge that will get you to the next level. And he's doing the little blessing sign that the Christian Pope does, the Christian Hierophant does, but he He just doesn't. I love his beard. He just looks like he's studied a lot, he's worked hard, and he has gained a great deal of spiritual knowledge. And the last Hierophant that I'm going to show is from the World Spirit Tarot. This is the second edition. I don't know if the first edition looks any different. But this one kind of perplexed me. He had the same posture as this guy, even though actually the subservient people seem even more subservient in this card than they do in this card. These guys look like they're actually listening to him. These guys look like they're just waiting to get beaten. And he does look like he holds a lot of power. And at first, I didn't know which culture, because the World Spirit Tarot has lots of different cultures in it, and I had no idea which culture this represented. But then I read from the book of the World Spirit Tarot, and this, I think, is the best book interpretation of the Hierophant that I have ever heard. And it says, an Aztec priest kneels in front of a marble platform. Resplendent in leopard skins and a feathered headdress, he holds a flaming scepter. He gestures above the man and woman crouching at his feet. Behind him, a heavy veil hangs between two pillars. Well, that's just a description of the card, which is very much like the Rider-Waite card. Then it goes on. The Hierophant fosters the spiritual growth of his people, just as the emperor governs their secular lives. He teaches us about the sacred forces that lie behind everyday reality. His life revolves around one of the greatest questions of mankind. How are we related to the divine? Having dedicated his life to studying spiritual traditions, the Hierophant is a strong link to the collective genius of our ancestors. While the High Priestess symbolizes the profound mystery at the heart of all religions, the Hierophant symbolizes their specific teachings. He offers both the best and the worst ideas of the past. It's up to you to decide which ones are useful to you. Turn page. As leaders throughout history have demonstrated, the Hierophant can get too attached to a particular dogma and even be corrupted by his authority. Like the emperor, he can become rigid and intolerant, demanding conformity and blind adherence. He may forget that each person must ultimately find the sacred in their own way. The wisdom of the ages is only useful if it can be adapted to the present. When the Hierophant appears in a reading, it's time to take stock of your spiritual beliefs. Looking to different teachings and traditions can help point the way, but ultimately the Hierophant challenges you to comprehend your relationship with the sacred at a very personal level and follow a path that's truly your own. I never would have gotten that from this card. I would have definitely gotten more of this from that card, but I absolutely love that description. And I really can relate to the Hierophant in the teaching aspect of that card. Let's go back to this one, sorry. I do think that one of my primary purposes in life is to teach. I write training materials. That's what I do. I actually teach training classes occasionally. I went to college. I was going to be a school teacher until they put me in 7th grade remedial history, and I ran screaming at 22. I couldn't do that. But I really can relate to the teacher and the student aspect of the Hierophant, because you always have, if you've got a teacher, you have to have a student. And I really do feel like I am the perpetual student. I would go to school forever if you would pay me to do that. So I like the Hierophant card. I like the positives that he stands for, and I like the warning that he provides in his shadow aspect. And I very greatly identify with the Hierophant card. And I would like to say thank you to Two Spirit, to Simon, for putting this hashtag or this challenge out there, because while I had thought about all of this about the Hierophant before, I hadn't actually coalesced it into a sort of, yes, I really do. I really can identify with this Hierophant, and I really do enjoy working with this card. So thank you to Simon, and thank you all for watching, and have a great day.